Hello there. This is the second part of the first topic of BCC. The topic that we had initiated last time in the last lecture, that was some ideal gas laws and their applications. And we have restricted our discussion to our requirements in BCC. Not that we are studying the physical chemistry of the states of matter. That is a vast topic that we'll be doing later. But in the last video, we had discussed Boyle's law, you remember, Charles' law, and Edmonton's law was of less importance to us, and finally Avogadro's law. I remind you, Avogadro's law correlates between volume and number of moles, that is mass. In fact, the direct relationship is between volume and the number of moles or number of molecules, not to the mass, not to the mass. And for this, temperature and pressure to remain constant. And Boyle's law and Charles' law, they make use of constant mass of the gas, and one other is the variable. Say in Boyle's law, temperature is variable, temperature is constant, and volume, pressure are variables. And in the Charles law, pressure is constant while the volume and temperature are variables, right? And we combine the two to find the combined gas equation P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. Now today in this lecture, let us combine three important equations: Boyle's law, Charles' law, and Avogadro's law. Then see what happens. So I'm just going to oblivion. As usual, don't look at me. I will be there, but you never bother. You bother only on my words and this screen, and you take a note and a pen, and wherever required you pause the video and write, right? If you are learning from me directly without anybody's assistance, right? The ideal gas law that we are going to study today, also called the perfect gas equation or equation of state. Ideal gas equation. We had studied combined gas equation. This is called ideal gas equation. That makes use of three laws: Boyle's law, mass and temperature constant; Charles' law, pressure and mass constants; and Avogadro's law, where pressure and temperature both are constants. Right? V is proportional to number of moles. So if this is the dependent variable V, that is fixed, and the independent variables are three different things, then according to our knowledge of mathematics, if you combine these three, the cumulative effect will be this dependent variable V will be directly proportional to the product of these three parameters, 1 by P into T into N. So the volume of gas is directly proportional to 1 by P multiplied by temperature multiplied by N. So if you crisscross, becomes PV is equal to the proportionality constant is R, not K, this is R. What we were saying K, this has got a new catchy subscript, the notation, the symbol R, and it is written after N because N is a small letter. Therefore the capital letter is usually written after the small letter. So this is the famous equation what we call PV is equal to nRT. That is the equation called the ideal gas equation. Most famous equation that you will be requiring to use for calculation purpose whenever you have a problem involving gas. PV, P is the pressure, P is the pressure of the gas, V is the volume of the gas, and you know volume of the gas means volume of the container, and R is a constant that is called the universal gas constant or simply gas constant. So this R is a constant which is called the universal gas constant, P, V, T, and these are all variables: temperature, pressure, volume, and N is the number of moles that you already know. N is the number of moles that we already know from Avogadro's law. Not number of molecules, number of moles, right? So PV is equal to nRT is our new equation. Let us use that. Now let's find the value of R, that constant which you will be using time and again while solving problems. So when PV is equal to nRT, which implies R is equal to PV by NT, then let us use the gram molar values. If we take the number of moles as 1 mole and the temperature is standard, that is 0 degrees Celsius or 273.15, we usually neglect this 0.15. You may take, if you are given, no harm, the difference is very little, I mean the ultimate result. So you take, that is 273.15, this is the standard temperature, and P is the standard pressure. Let us take it in atmosphere, 18 atmosphere, that is 760 millimeter of mercury or 76 centimeter of mercury column height pressure. So we write 1 atmosphere, the unit is atmosphere of pressure, and volume, the gram molar volume, you know, if it is 1 mole and it is STP conditions, then the volume is the gram molar volume 22.4 liters, and you have, if you apply all this and calculate, the value of R will be 0.082. Remember, this is a most important constant, R, 0.082 liter, this is liter, and this is atmosphere, this is mole, this is Kelvin. So this, therefore it is liter atmosphere per mole per Kelvin. So that is the unit of R, liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole or per mole per Kelvin, right? Let me not disfigure it. Now this can also be found out in SI system. In SI you can find out, but for that I have to remind you, some of you might be not knowing that to find out the pressure exerted by, I know in some courses, in some Indian courses at least I know that supposing, this is a liquid column, right? This height is H. Say there is a water here or oil here or ethanol here, any liquid you have. You want to measure what is the pressure that the liquid is exerting on the bottom surface of this container. And if rho is the density of the liquid, density is mass by volume. That gives you how heavy or how thin a liquid is or how thick a liquid is, right? Mass by volume is called the density. Now if the density of the liquid is rho and h is the height of the liquid column, then, and g is the acceleration due to gravity, the value of acceleration due to gravity, that is 9.8 meter per second square, or in CGS it is 980 centimeter per second square. So you have to use the pressure is equal to H rho into G. That gives you the pressure. H is the height of the liquid column, rho is the density of the liquid. For example, mercury has the density 13.6 gram per milliliter or gram per cm cube, cc. And for water, it is 1 gram per cc, or in SI 1000 kg per meter cube, right? G is the acceleration due to gravity. This G is the acceleration due to gravity. And it is 980 centimeter per second square or 9.8 meter per second square if it is SI. So if you use this formula, you can find the pressure in SI unit. Here we were taking atmosphere. We are not using SI unit, simply atmosphere, and hence the unit was also in atmosphere. But now we want in SI, that means it will be a joule. Right? It come in joule. So that, you know, this pressure is nothing but force per unit area, right? This is force per unit area, that is, say, Newton meter square. And this pressure is not power, this is pressure, force per unit area. So this is Newton per meter square. This is called 1 Pascal, right? So but R is an energy term because it is coming in joule. Why? Because you have PV by P into V, that is an energy term. Pressure is this and volume is meter cube. So if pressure and volume are multiplied, then it becomes, you know, pressure is what? Newton per meter square. And volume is again meter cube. So this cancel, 1 meter remains. So Newton into meter is nothing but the unit of work or energy. Force into displacement in the direction of the force. So this R, which is equal to PV by T, NT, PV is nothing but an energy term. So therefore you are getting joule. But per mole per Kelvin, that is to be there because it is in the denominator. And this PV is an energy term, and say therefore liter atmosphere is also an energy unit. Remember this. Liter atmosphere is also an energy unit. You can convert 1 liter atmosphere into how many joules. You can make conversion from these two. Now let's find out how to get this value R in SI unit. Now the pressure is H rho G. H, you know, one standard pressure is 76, that supports 76 centimeter of mercury column. So one at standard pressure is nothing but the pressure exerted by 76 centimeter of mercury, right? So you let us apply this principle H rho G H. This is all in CGS. We have taken up CGS. So 76 centimeter. This is the density of mercury. Mercury is very, very dense, very heavy liquid. So its density is 13.6 gram per cm cube. And this is acceleration due to gravity G. This is centimeter per second square. So everything gets cancelled, centimeter, centimeter, and it becomes ultimately joule, right? So you yourself, let me not spend more time on physics. So this will ultimately give you joule, and then V, 22.4 liters is converted to milliliters, 22,400 milliliter. And you know 1 milliliter is nothing but 1 cm cube. So this is cm cube. Right? So all these cancel out, and finally we get joule, the unit of energy or unit of work, and in the denominator same thing, number of moles 1, and the standard temperature is 273.15, and if you calculate it becomes 8.3 into 10 to the power 7 ergs. Of course this is in ergs because you are using CGS unit. You will be getting the result in ergs. 8.3 in 10 to the power 7 ergs per mole per Kelvin, but 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power 7 erg. So this 10 to the power 7 is eliminated to convert this into joule. So 8.3 into 10 to the power 7 erg is equal to 8.3 joules per mole per Kelvin is common in all these CGS or SI. You will be using this to the greatest extent and this also equally greatest extent. Remember these two. Right? Actually, the calculation is 8.314. But we just simplify 8.3. In some literature, in some questions, you might get R is equal to 8.314. So don't get surprised at all. Now I am just rubbing it off and once again telling you what we did. We wanted to find pressure in SI unit, not SI, I'm sorry, CGS unit. See, all these are CGS. Then we converted to SI. CGS system, the height of mercury column, that is standard pressure, is 76 centimeter. And to convert it into, Newton per meter square or Pascal, this 3 will give you Newton per meter square or Pascal. So this, not Pascal, this is, I'm sorry, this is CGS, it's not Pascal. This is, the counterpart of Pascal, this is dynes per centimeter square. Newton per meter square is called Pascal, but here this will be coming as, I'm sorry, I'm just, this together it will come as dynes per centimeter square, and this will be coming, this is volume into centimeter cube, so centimeter square, cube cancels, so dyne into centimeter, that is erg. You understood? So then we converted erg into joule. Then how you can rationalize this centimeter into gram per centimeter cube, and this is centimeter per second square into dynes per centimeter square, that is your job to find out. Right? It's not my job. It's very simple. I can also explain to you how this is centimeter per second square, and this is gram per centimeter cube, this is centimeter, this is centimeter, gram per cm cube, this is density in CGS, and this is centimeter square, centimeter per second square. Centimeter per second square. Now you are left with gram per centimeter per second square. That is nothing but dynes per centimeter square. How that can be converted, since this gram, this is left with gram into gram by second square into centimeter square. So this second square lies below, and centimeter square also, centimeter, this is centimeter cube, so this 1 centimeter will be remaining. Right? So you have to find out how this is becoming, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So this is supposing gram, and this is acceleration centimeter per second square. So dyne is nothing but equal to gram into centimeter per second square. So that means in place of this we can write, so gram per centimeter square into centimeter, that is nothing but dyne. So here just I am telling you, because I love physics equally well, therefore I am tempted to spend little more time. Let me just use another space, dedicated space, to tell you how this happened. So it was gram into centimeter by second square. Gram by centimeter into second square. And we have to prove that this is nothing but dyne into centimeter. That is equal to erg. I'm sorry. No, that we have to see. This has to be dyne per centimeter square. I'm so sorry. This is pressure. It has to be equal to dynes per centimeter square. We have only 1 centimeter here, but force is nothing but dyne, that is nothing but mass into acceleration, that is gram NCGS into this is centimeter per second square, right? So in place of dynes, we can write this. Let us substitute here. So gram into centimeter per second square by centimeter square. So is it not equal to this? Is it not equal to gram divided by centimeter square into second square into centimeter? So what I was saying is this whole will be giving you in dyne per centimeter square, and this is centimeter cube, because 1 molar volume is 22.4 liters, and in milliliters it is 22,400 milliliter. 1 milliliter is same as centimeter cube. So this becomes dynes per centimeter square, and this into centimeter cube, so that finally it remains dyne into centimeter, that is nothing but equal to erg. I think we did a lot of physics, so you forget about it, you know. So this is the R value, and by dividing 10 to the power 7 we get 8.3 joules per Kelvin per mole. And so these are the 4 values you have to remember for calculation. R is equal to 0.082. This is flat in liter atmosphere. That is liter atmosphere. Most of the problems you will be doing using R is equal to this, liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. And in CGS it is 8.314 into 10 to the power 7 erg per Kelvin per mole. And in SI it is only 8.314 joules per Kelvin per mole. And if you divide by 4.18, that 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule, then you divide it by 4.18, then it will be approximately 2. It will be 1.99. So we take it as 2 calories per Kelvin per mole. So wherever you required in calories form, R is equal to 2, in SI 8.314 or simply 8.3, and in CGS hardly you will be requiring that. It is this, and mostly you will be requiring this 0.082 liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. But make sure that while we are going for calculation, you don't mess up. The unit should be uniform. Volume should be in liter, pressure should be in atmosphere, then only you will use this value. If you are using this value, then the pressure has to be in Pascal, Newton per meter square, which is rarely you can do by this principle. You have to know the pressure in terms of the height of certain liquid. Usually mercury is chosen as the liquid, right? So mostly you will be using this. But in other cases, you know, in gaseous state chapter, when we study the physical chemistry, you will be using all the values here, this one, all values. Then let us now again revise what is STP. You know, in old convention, which is still in practice, old is gold, so nobody is prepared to adapt to the new rules. So the old STP was Temperature wise, 0 degree Celsius, same, is approximately 273 Kelvin. Pressure wise, it is 1 atmosphere. Means it is 760 millimeter of mercury. Or in centimeter, it is 76 centimeter of mercury. And at this condition, the gram molar volume this STP condition is 22.4 liters. That is sure. Experimentally also it has been determined, and also we can deduce it from Avogadro's law. Hold on, I will show you. Now, let's first talk about, these things are so fundamental. Students that do not have the idea, even from class 8, 9, a concrete idea about all this. Now, this is a barometer where you measure the atmospheric pressure. Now see, this is a mercury trough and this is a tube containing mercury that was all filled with mercury, as you know, and it was inverted over a mercury trough. Then this level is raised down. So this is a vacuum that is called Torricellian vacuum. There is nothing inside and it remains static at 760 millimeter of mercury from this height, from this level. That means the atmospheric pressure which is pressing this mercury is able to press the liquid column up to this height. So the pressure of this liquid up to, from this to this, I mean whatever pressure this mercury column having 76 centimeter in height will exert on the surface of this, where it is having the same surface as the liquid in the trough. So that is same as the atmospheric pressure. So indirectly we find the atmospheric pressure in terms of the height of the mercury column that it supports. So the standard pressure is this 760 millimeter of mercury. And we can convert it to, in CGS unit or SI unit. Supposing SI unit, it's H rho Z. We convert it to meter. Is better in CGS fast. So this is 76 centimeter. Rho is 13.6 gram per cm3, and Z is 980 centimeter per second square. So you get the value. That value, what you get, will be 1.01 something into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. I will show you the next slide, the value. When you convert it to H rho Z and absolute SI value, it will be 1.01 something, I'll tell you, into 10 to the power 5 Pascal, Newton per meter square, right? So this is called the principle of barometer, and the barometer that you will be finding hanging on the wall of a laboratory is based on this principle. And make sure that every day you don't find the height 760. Someday there is a depression, then it might go up. It may go down. It may be 720 or even 700. So that is a harbinger of the onset of a cyclonic storm. Sometimes this will go up. So every day the level is changing, and every day the weather, the meteorology department, they find out what is the pressure at every 1 hour. This height is changing, but for calculation purpose we take a standard value, that is 760 millimeter, but never remain under the impression that always the atmospheric pressure, that is the atmosphere that is pressing us, is always 760. No, hardly. Coincidentally, in the whole 365 days, might be one day it will be exactly 760 millimeter, but it is either greater than that or lesser than that. If greater, the high pressure condition; lower, it is depression condition. So that is the principle of barometer. to record the atmospheric pressure. Now see, this is called manometer. Manometer is used to measure the gas pressure. Supposing you have a gas enclosed in a container, there is a there is also a stopper here which you can stop it. It's the enclosed gas. The enclosed gas doesn't have always a pressure equal to 1 atmosphere. That means what is the prevailing atmospheric condition, that may not be the case, because it is an enclosed gas, a sealed container. It's not left to the care of the atmosphere by using a movable piston. For example, it is a sealed container, it is carrying a gas, the atmosphere is not in equilibrium with the gas, because the boundary is a hard glass surface or a container, so it is isolated. And the pressure, if you want to find, then you have to take the help of another instrument called manometer. Right? Now these 3 cases I am showing. Manometer is not the only thing that is needed. You have to support a barometer. Barometer is always to support a manometer to find the ultimate pressure of a enclosed gas. Now in these manometers I have shown one side, this is a U-shaped tube, one end is connected with there is a connection system. So the one end is connected to the gas stopper is open, and immediately it is connected to this end. That means this end is closed and this end is open, and there is mercury inside, right? Now if coincidentally, if you find that the level of mercury in the left column is same as the level of mercury in the right column, that means the gas pressure is exactly equal to 1 atmosphere. Because in the right column, it is the atmosphere which is pressing. It is open. Atmosphere is pressing at this level. And because the 2 levels are equal, that means the gas is also pressing to the same extent. Therefore, there is no, difference in the levels between the 2 sides. So this is the situation where the gas pressure is exactly equal to atmospheric pressure. And in that case, you run to the barometer hanging on the wall of your laboratory. Supposing it says 78 centimeter or 780 millimeter. Then you say the gas pressure is 780. It's not always standard. Don't take 760. Is just a standard condition where we use for calculation. Because in standard condition, the molar volume is 22.4 liters. So for these calculations, we have standardized. The scientists have standardized a universal standard temperature and pressure. So at that condition, the volume of any gas, if it is 1 mole, 22.4 liters. Right? Now, if a gas pressure is greater, then it will press more. So that this side it will be, raised to a higher level. So if this is the difference, let me call it H, not P, because this is height. This difference is say H. Don't take P. The height is H. So because the internal gas pressure is more than the atmospheric pressure, it has pressed to a greater extent so that the 2 levels are not same. So this is raised up. That means atmospheric pressure which is falling at this level and the pressure due to the mercury column of this height at this surface, because these 2 surfaces are identical, right? So atmospheric pressure ATM in height, of course, plus the pressure due to this liquid column H is equal to the gas pressure P gas. So which implies, yes, P gas is equal to this P atmosphere plus the pressure. Of course, this is correct. This is pressure. You have to convert to SDG. Since these are pressure, this cannot be height. So this is correct. I copy pasted from a Google source, thanks to Google. And the one who has drawn this, I salute to him, from whom I am borrowed. I dare say with the pitch of my voice that I borrow some pictures from internet, from the Google source. Now that should be P mercury, because the pressure due to the height of the mercury column of H. So we can write like this or this, whatever. But in this third case, where the gas pressure is lower than atmospheric pressure, the atmosphere presses more, and the level in the left side becomes greater than that of the right side. So that means the gas pressure, which is up to this point, and the extra pressure due to the mercury column of height H, for example, this is also height H, that is equal to 1 atmosphere. 1 means atmospheric pressure, because here up to this point atmosphere is working, there is nothing, and up to this point gas is working up to this point, and from this to this the mercury column height, that is pressing onto this point. So at this point where the two levels are same, then the two pressures have to be same, because if the levels are same, then the pressures are same. This level is only atmosphere, so P atmosphere is equal to P gas plus H. That means the pressure due to H. So which implies P gas is equal to P atmosphere minus H, or PH. So he has written P mercury, right? So this is a better thing, because it's not H that is required here, it is the pressure. H rho G will give you the pressure. You understood? So these are the three conditions of a manometer. But in every case you have to run to a barometer, because we need atmospheric pressure. Supposing our gas has a pressure of 72, for example. Then on that day, how could you get 72? On that day the pressure was, supposing instead of 76 centimeter, it is 80. There is a high pressure outside. And this height we found, it is 8. So this height is 8. I am all measuring in terms of height. Therefore, if this is in terms of height, this is in terms of height, so this is H. Therefore, I was very familiar with writing H. But make sure that this is not the real pressure, it is the corresponding height. So if the atmospheric pressure corresponds to, from the barometer, which corresponds to 80 millimeter on that day, and this height is 8, for example, 8. So 80 minus 8, that will be 72, will be centimeter, is the height, is the pressure of the enclosed gas. That means if you multiply this H with rho and G, then that will give you the pressure. So always the pressure is measured in terms of the height of a mercury column, whether it is an enclosed gas or it is not. Obviously, a gas should be enclosed. Whether you have to equalize, supposing, how can you equalize? If these two levels are by chance equal, how can you know that atmospheric pressure is equal to the gas pressure? By chance it may be equal. In that case, supposing 80 is the barometric pressure, the atmospheric pressure, the gas pressure is also 80. But supposing you encounter that the right side column has a greater height than the left, then the gas pressure is more. So gas pressure is equal to 80 plus H. Supposing 8 is the height. In this case, the pressure of the gas is 80 plus 8, 88. But in this case, 80 minus 8, 72, because in this case the pressure of the gas is less than the atmospheric pressure. Therefore, the atmosphere has pressed it to a lower height in the right side, so the left side has risen up, has raised up, and therefore this has happened. Right? And nowadays closed manometers are available. So where you close the other end and take any liquid you want, not necessarily mercury, any liquid you want, and your gas will be fitted into this closed. There is a stopper here to close, and then you connect the enclosed gas with this side where it is closed, but this side is also closed. So this differential height is nothing but the gas pressure, because above it there is nothing, vacuum, because it was completely filled with mercury. Now it has come down, and the height and this height, there is a difference of H. That means this gas supports a liquid, just like our Torricellian vacuum. You were putting a mercury tube inverted over a mercury trough, and outside is 1 atmosphere, and it was supporting 76 or 78 or 82 or 72 centimeter of mercury column. That is the atmospheric pressure. In the similar manner, the gas is supporting this much. It is able to press, and this differential height H rho G, this is rho, that will be the pressure of the gas, because this is closed, this is vacuum, not producing any pressure. So the pressure of the gas, always the right side column will be higher than that of the left side, because there is nothing here. So gas has a pressure, so it will definitely press the left side, and the right side will be higher than the left side. Nowadays pressure meters, pressure gauges are available, where you put your gas, enclosed gas here, right, and immediately it will show in its meter reading that whether it is this much, maybe in terms of Pascal, or in terms of bar, in terms of bar, right? I'll tell you what is a bar. 1 bar is 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter square, right? So either it will indicate, this point will indicate what is the pressure of your enclosed gas in bar unit, or the British primitive unit PSI, pounds per square inch. That is not in practice now. So you now pressure gauges are available, where you can put, you must have experienced, when you give pressure to your tubings, tire or tubes in your scooties, in your motorbikes, you must be finding there is a pressure meter that the person now checks what is the pressure. Is it the required pressure? So that is a pressure meter. When you put it to an enclosed gas, there is a valve system, because from the tube no gas is leaking out. But when it will pierce into that, it will be open to the gas, and it will temporarily be open to the gas, and it will indicate what is the pressure in either bar unit or in PSI unit, whatever, right? So usually in our problems we will be only taking the height of mercury column. Is frequently not Newton per meter square or Pascal. But in this video, this lecture, we will be taking the gaseous pressure equivalent to the pressure due to a certain height of mercury column, right? Then the new STP. How far we have gone, let us see. It is 44 minutes, nothing to worry. Then the new STP, nobody recognizes the new STP, because everyone around the globe, they are happy with the old STP. The new STP, there is a change. The standard pressure is not 1 atmosphere. It is 1 bar, right? 1 bar. And what is 1 bar? 1 bar is nothing but 10 to the power 5 Pascal, Newton per meter square. But 1 atmosphere is slightly greater. I was telling you, 1 atmosphere is 1.01325 bar. So then which is greater? 1 atmosphere is greater in pressure or 1 bar is greater? Undoubtedly 1 atmosphere is slightly greater than 1 bar. And therefore in terms of Pascal or kilopascal, 1 atmosphere is 1.01325 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Because this is bar, 1 bar. So since 1 atmosphere is this many bars, so in terms of Pascal, it will be this Pascal, or kilopascal, 10 to the power 3 will be coming outside, then it will be 101.325 kilopascal. But the temperature is same. Standard temperature has not been changed. But the standard pressure has been changed by IUPAC, a body which regulates all the rules of chemistry, which is to be followed internationally. But in that, the gram molar volume is not 22.4 liters. It is 22.7 liters. Can you believe it? Have you ever heard that GMV can be 22.7 liters? No? Yes, now you hear that according to the latest convention, the standard pressure is no longer 1 atmosphere, it is 1 bar. And if the pressure is less, 1 bar is lesser than 1 atmosphere, the volume is more. Because volume and pressure, they are inversely related. So therefore, it is greater than 22.4, it is 20.7 has been calculated and also checked by experiment. So, but unfortunately, in most of the literature for calculation purpose, they take STP as 1 atmosphere, the old method, and take gram molar volume as 22.4 liters. Right? So when you will challenge, they will say we are using old concept. Had we used the new concept, then it would have been 22.7 liters, right? But very interestingly, the R value will be the same. Whether, because they will cancel out, this is a ratio. P is now it is not HDG. We were finding that would have been this much. Our pressure HDG that we were H rho G that we are finding, supposing we convert it to all SI, centimeter to meter, and density is not 13.6, it is 1360 kg per meter cube, and the acceleration due to gravity 9.8 meter per second square, then you will get this value, right? But we are taking only 10 to the power 5, and accordingly the volume is not 22.4. So this is diminished and this is increased. So therefore they compensate each other, and ultimately the value of R is same, 8.314 joules per Kelvin per mole. Now let us talk about density. Like solids and liquids, they have their density, mass per unit volume. Gases also have their densities. So the density rho, sometimes we write rho, no harm, but I have taken D as the symbol for density. So the density of a gas, which is mass per unit volume, depends on both temperature and pressure. If you change the temperature and pressure, accordingly volume will be also changed. Although mass remains constant, but the density remains different, becomes different. So how to find density of any gas at any condition? Let us try to find out a formula, a handy formula from the ideal gas equation. Don't worry, we'll be doing a lot of numericals now. PV is equal to nRT. And what is N? Number of moles. It is nothing but mass by molecular mass. M dash is the mass of the gas. I have taken M dash, M prime. Don't worry. You can take M, no harm. So mass of the gas is M dash, M prime, and M, capital M, is the molecular mass of the gas. So this is the number of moles, N, R and T. So if you crisscross, take M dash divided by V to one side and the rest to the other side. So M dash, bring V to this side and take M to this side, RT to the denominator. So M dash by V is equal to PM by RT. M dash by V is nothing but D. So density is equal to PM by RT. That is a very, very handy equation to find out the density of any gas at any temperature and pressure. P is the pressure of the gas obtained by a manometer, you know, or a pressure gauge, or by chance if it is equal to atmosphere, then it's same as the barometric pressure. So you know how to measure the gas pressure. M is the molecular mass of the gas. R is the universal gas constant. We spent so much of time to determine that. And T is the temperature in absolute scale, right? So let us learn how to find density by another alternative method. This you will find it will be tedious, time consuming. That formula method is more handy, PM by RT. But this is also, you must learn all the methods. First, the volume of 1 mole of a gas at the given conditions is to be determined. From STP condition, you convert it to the given conditions by using the combined gas equation. P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. So you convert the molar volume, which is 22.4 liters at STP, to the non-STP conditions, right? But the mass will remain the same whether you are changing the temperature, pressure, volume will change, but the mass will remain same as 1 mole. So mass of the gas remains same, 1 mole, at different temperature and pressures. Only volume changes if T and P changes. So the density at the given conditions is equal to mass of 1 mole, that is gram molecular mass, by the volume at the given conditions that you have found out by using the combined gas equation. We will be solving some problems now. It's time. It's time now to solve problems. Now this is in continuation with the part 1. After this part, I will give you the assignments for you to do at home, and since some of you are following me, and I'm sure if this trend is built up, then who knows that students might opt to learn with me instead of spending time here and there and confusing. If you learn from different instructors, then their methods, their strategies, the way they handle might differ. So therefore, in the beginner stage, students get confused. Therefore, it is always advisable, ideal, particularly for the beginners, to fix with a particular instructor and learn, as long as you are satisfied and you get the concept clearly, right? Now let's study. And you pause the video now. You pause the video and read and solve. Then you tally. Calculate the molecular mass of a gas, 1 gram of which occupies 395 ml at this temperature and this millimeter of mercury pressure. I told you that always the pressure is expressed in terms of the height of mercury column, always. That means the enclosed gas will have a differential height of 760. Supposing 760 is that day's pressure, supposing by chance, and the extra height that it presses is again 760. So 760 becomes 1522 is the pressure of that particular gas in question. So the mass is equal to 1 gram. Let us write down 1 gram. And the molecular mass we do not know. This molecular mass is unknown. And temperature in Kelvin scale, it is 273 plus 27, it is 300 Kelvin, right? And volume is 395 ml. Can we convert it to liter? Why liter? I'll tell you. Just hold on. Just hold on. And pressure is 1520 millimeter of mercury. Can we convert it to atmosphere? Because I told you the R value, PV is equal to nRT. That is the ideal gas equation that is needed in this purpose when there is the data of mass, the amount. Then no Boyle's law, no Charles' law, no Avogadro's law alone can help you. This ideal gas equation combines the variation of mass, temperature, pressure, volume, everything, right? So P has to be in atmosphere because we will be using R as 0.082 liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. Therefore, you have to convert pressure into atmosphere. So can you tell me what will be the atmosphere value of this? If 1 atmosphere is 760, then 1520 millimeter is equal to 1520 by 760 atmosphere. Because 760 millimeter is the standard pressure according to mercury height. But our gas pressure is not the standard pressure, it is different. It is 1520. So according to atmosphere, it is this by this. And volume should be in liter because this is in liter atmosphere. So this volume is equal to 395 by 1000 liter. So let us apply the values. P as 1520 by 760 atmosphere. The first time I am writing all this, but once you are familiarized, you are acquainted in solving problems, you think mentally that this is an atmosphere. No need to write. And volume is in liter. This is 395 by 1000. That means 0.395 liter is equal to N. N is the mass divided by molecular mass. This is N. And mass is given. The mass data is given 1 gram. This is gram, my dear. Therefore, you will be getting gram molecular mass. It's not a kg molecular mass. It is in gram. In chemistry, you know, this basic concepts in chemistry, you'll be using mostly the CGS because the gram molecular mass, the gram atomic mass, we take in grams. So usually we like to solve problems in CGS unit, right? But that doesn't mean that we cannot convert the gram molecular mass into kg molecular mass. You can do that. So into, this is N, R is 0.082. Let me not write down the units, liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole, liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole, into T. T is 300. So Kelvin. So all will be cancelled out and ultimately this and M is the only unknown and the units are all cancelled out. It will be some value. Mole inverse will be the final residual unit. Atmosphere will get cancelled. Liter will cancel. I'm sorry. Where? This liter, this side, two sides. Liter will cancel. Atmosphere will cancel. And what else? This 1 gram and this is mole. So this is gram. This is gram. Of course, this gram that will be cancelled, and ultimately mole inverse will be there. So this will be the molecular mass. So you need not write mole inverse. That means this is the mass in gram per mole inverse. Right? Simply, and the answer I got is 31.94, approximately 32. So we can just guess that the gas could be and should be oxygen, because no other gas can have the molecular mass close to 32, and there can be experimental error. So every experiment has some error. So we're talking of oxygen. You understand? So this is gram per mole. We don't write. So this is simply molecular mass is a number, and gram molecular mass is 32 gram per mole. you are getting only a pure number. Everything gets cancelled and you are getting this gram cancelled and getting pure number 32. But the gram molecular mass is 32 gram per mole. Right? So atmosphere get cancelled. Kelvin, this Kelvin and this Kelvin. There is a Kelvin inverse and this temperature Kelvin, they cancelled. Atmosphere, everything gram get cancelled, so you get a pure number. So a molecular mass is a pure number, but gram molecular mass is so many grams per mole. Then we go to the next. It is already 1 hour more. Don't worry, we are inching close to our end. Find the density of carbon monoxide gas at 27 degrees Celsius and 1.5 atmosphere pressure. Find by both methods. But later on, you can choose your method. You do not solve in two methods. Just a minute. So far, the reflection was giving a yellowish tinge to my picture. So I noticed now, so I stopped one light. So there is some reflection, yellow reflection coming, right? Is it okay now? Now find the density. So the first method, let us use the formula. Do you remember the formula? D is equal to PM by RT. PM by RT. P is 1.5 atmosphere. Directly it is in atmosphere. So no need to convert. Had it been millimeter or centimeter, would have been converted. But it is directly atmosphere. And molecular mass, carbon monoxide is, this is 12 plus 16, 28. That is gram per mole. I'm showing you how things will cancel out. R is 0.082 liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. Into temperature is 273 plus 27, 300 Kelvin. So this Kelvin per Kelvin they cancel, per mole cancel, atmosphere cancel. So ultimately you are left with gram per liter. The density must be having a unit, mass unit in the numerator and the volume unit in the denominator, and I got the value 1.707 gram per liter or gram per liter, same thing. So this is the density of the carbon monoxide at this temperature and this pressure. Right? You can convert it to gram per milliliter by just multiply 1000. So it divide by 1000. It will be 0. How many zeros? 0.01707 gram per milliliter. So light. Gases are very light. So the density should be very low. Because 1 liter in the denominator. 1 liter is equal to 1000 ml. So 1000 is in the denominator. So that is this, right? And the second method. For that, you have to have little more time. First, you have to convert, say 1 mole of carbon monoxide is 28 gram. Right? And then you convert the molar volume at STP. You know the old STP, 22.4 liters. So let us convert P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. So let us apply P1 is 1 atmosphere, V1 is 22.4 liters, by temperature is 273. These are the STP conditions, and we have to take it to the given conditions, and pressure is 1.5 atmosphere. Into temperature is, volume, you have to find out what is the volume, V2, and the temperature is 300. So I got the volume at the given conditions, I got the volume 16.41 liter. The 22.4 liter now became 16.41 liter at different conditions. Pressure is changing, temperature is changing. So the volume is this. Now, same 1 mole which has a mass of 28 gram will now occupy this. So density is equal to, the mass will never change. Same 1 mole is there, 28 gram is there, mass by the volume, new volume, 16.41 a liter is the new volume. So this is gram, this is liter per mole. Just let us forget, 1 mole is equal to 28 gram. 1 mole is equal to 28 gram in mass, so 28 divided by the new volume at the given conditions. So that will be the same answer that we got, 1.70. Slight difference, when the methods are different, there is a slight difference in the answer. So never mind, someone is approximating at what point, at the second place of decimal or third place of decimal. So don't be surprised if you get a different answer than your friend in the second place of decimal or third place of decimal. Don't scream out. So I got a slightly different answer, almost same, 1.704, I think, 704 or something like that. Gram per liter, right? So either you can do this method or this method. You understood? I think I have to split into another session because still many more things are there. So you must take a pause after this one, right? Find the density of hydrogen gas at STP. Now already it is measured experimentally. The density of hydrogen has been measured. It is 0.089 gram per liter or 0.40000089 gram per milliliter. It is already experimentally measured, but we can calculate also. Now find the density. Let us use the formula method. D is equal to Pm by RT. STP. RT is T and P are STP. So 1 atmosphere into molecular mass of hydrogen is 2 because it is a diatomic gas. So 2 gram and R is 0.082. 2 gram per mole. And you need not give these units. You just look to the uniformity in this unit, atmosphere and liter, that's it. And don't give molecular mass as gram per mole. Simply 2 gram you can write. So R and T is 273. It is STP, so 273. So if you calculate, it will be, undoubtedly this is Kelvin. This is liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. I am doing this for the first time. Henceforth, when we have calculation, I will not write all these units. So atmosphere get cancelled. Kelvin per Kelvin get cancelled. Per mole get cancelled. So we are left with gram per liter. So this will be coming 0.089 gram per liter is the density of hydrogen. Is the lightest gas. Is the lightest element. Why gas? It's the lightest element. And in terms of milliliter, it is 0.000. Another 3 zeros will be joining in the left. 4 zeros, 89 gram per milliliter or gram per cc. So remember this, we shall be using this. The density of hydrogen at STP is 0.089 gram per liter or 0.00089 gram per milliliter. Then before we close, we have many things to do. I think we close this session here at this point, and in the next it is already 1 hour 9 minutes, and in the next video which I will be doing again, it's coming little yellowish tinge. Where from it is coming? I am really surprised. Doesn't matter. Whether it is a whitish or yellowish, doesn't matter. What is matter is our learning process. Right? So, in the next video, which I'll be making just after a bit, I think I'll take a break for say 1 hour and then come back to continue this. I will be making it part 3, where I'll be talking about aqueous tension, and I will be talking about measurement of gas pressure. Already we have done, and I will just do the same thing, the leveling experiment I will tell you, and the same manometer concept. And then what is vapor density? That is very important. And how vapor density is related to molecular mass. And then how it is determined by Victor Meyer's method. And we shall be solving problems. So I think that will be another 45 minutes program. So let us not continue more than this. So let us be happy and wait for the next lecture. Still we have to wait till assignment. Assignment will come in part 3 now. We are stopping here. Bye.